Austria, one of the most well-liked vacation spots in Europe, draws visitors all year long with sights to see in both the summer and the winter. In fact, the country's breathtaking mountain regions experience almost as much tourism in the winter as in the summer thanks to some of Europe's best skiing. Austria, one of Europe's tiniest nations, is primarily made up of upland regions and high mountains, with the Eastern Alps taking up about 60% of its total area. With this list of the top tourist attractions in Austria, you can find the greatest places to go and things to do. Salzburg Altstadt. Since the beginning of Christianity in Europe, Salzburg has served as the residence of prince archbishops. Saint Rupert founded the Benedictine Abbey of St. Peter in the center of the Altstadt, which housed the archbishops until the early 1100s. Even though their churches, homes, and monasteries have been updated to suit the tastes of succeeding centuries, the prince archbishops employed some of the best artists and architects of their time to build and decorate their monasteries. Together, the medieval and Baroque structures form a lovely old neighborhood that is worth exploring. Schönbrunn Palace, Vienna. The early 1700s saw the completion of Vienna's Schönbrunn Palace, a Baroque structure that was eventually transformed into a vacation home by Empress Maria Theresa. You'll also view the magnificent Hall of Mirrors, which features mirrors with gold Rococo frames. 500 acres of parks and gardens, likewise in the 18th century Baroque style, extend behind the 1,441-room mansion. Numerous vintage state coaches and sleighs are on show in a carriage museum inside the former winter riding school. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, the full complex of the palace and grounds. Hallstatt and the Dachstein Salzkammergut. Without a question, one of the most attractive tiny towns in Austria, if not all of Europe, is Hallstatt. It's a great starting point for exploring the breathtaking Dachstein Salzkammergut region, which is listed as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Hallstatt's prosperity, which is founded on its lengthy history of salt production dating back to prehistoric times, is attested to by the exquisite Baroque architecture. Highlights include the Mammoth Cave, with its enormous pipe-shaped passageways created by an old underground river, and the giant ice cave, with its sub-zero summer temperatures and enormous caverns with stunning frozen waterfalls. Belvedere Palace, Vienna. The magnificent Belvedere Palace is another of Austria's most popular palaces. The upper and lower palaces are the two main divisions of this significant historic landmark. Choose the upper palace to tour if you only have time for one. You may view one of the nation's best preserved architectural treasures as well as the majority of the attraction's remarkable collection of artworks here. Visits to the lower palace are just as worthwhile. Highlights include the grotesque hall's several outstanding wall paintings, the Marble Gallery's statue collection, and a second marble hall famed for its intriguing ceiling fresco. The Grossglockner Road. Between 1930 and 1935, the Grossglockner Hochalpenstrasse from Bruck in the Pinzgau to Heiligenblatt at the base of the Grossglockner was built. It is one of Europe's most magnificent mountain routes, and it follows the path of an old Roman road. It is still a beautiful highway that passes through the Hohe-Tauern, Austria's tallest mountain massif and one of the nation's top tourist destinations, even though its significance as an Alps route has diminished. The route, which is 22 kilometers long and rises more than 2,000 meters above sea level, is made up of numerous turns that wind up to the summit tunnel on the Hochtor, and then down into the valley on the opposite side. Klosterneuburg Abbey and the Verdun altar. A flight of steps in lovely Klosterneuburg Abbey leads down to the 12th century St. Leopold's Chapel where Leopold III is buried. It's also where you'll find the famous Verdun altar. Perhaps the finest existing example of medieval enamel work, the altar consists of 51 panels of Champlev work on gilded copper depicting biblical scenes by Nicholas of Verdun from around 1181. Krimler Lake. The Krimler Lake, which originates in the nearby village of Kriml and plunges 380 meters in three magnificent cascades, is a fantastic day trip. If you enjoy hiking, Kriml, which is located at an elevation of 1,076 meters and is positioned high above the Salzachtal in a wooded valley, is a great place to stop for a few days. Along with other wonderful waterfall hikes, there is also a rewarding climb to the Schettbruck and a continuation to the magnificent Krimler Tauernhaus. Expert climbers can attempt the 2,911-meter high Glockenkarkop near the Italian border from this location. The Vienna Hofburg. The magnificent Hofburg Palace in Vienna served as the imperious Habsburg family's residence for centuries. The entire Hofburg complex, which includes its numerous lovely squares and gardens, spans 59 acres and includes 2,600 rooms spread across 19 courtyards. The Imperial Silver Collection and a variety of dining options that offer a taste of the opulent imperial dinners that previously took place here are highlights of a visit. The Imperial Apartments, a collection of 19 rooms that originally belonged to Emperor Franz Joseph and his wife, and the CC Museum, which focuses on the life and times of Empress Elizabeth, are both noteworthy attractions. The Spanish Riding School, Vienna. The beginnings of the Spanish riding school may be traced to the reign of Emperor Maximilian, who was also in charge of bringing the renowned Lipizzaner horses to Austria in 1562. It is currently one of the last locations where the traditional riding style chosen by the nobility is still used. One of the best things to do in Vienna is to watch the renowned equestrian performances at the Baroque Winter Riding School. The spectacular hall, constructed in 1735, was intended for the elite to display their riding prowess. Because there is a huge demand for tickets to see these majestic animals perform their dance, make your online reservations as soon as you can. Melk Benedictine Abbey. One of the most well-known monastery sites in the world is Melk Abbey, which features magnificent structures arranged around 7 courtyards. The west end of this vast 325-meter-long complex, with its twin-towered church standing above a semicircular terrace range, is the most noticeable feature. The abbey has many more excellent reasons to spend a few hours touring it, including its location perched on a rocky outcrop high above the town of Melk and overlooking the Danube. Along the route, you'll also pass through the imperial rooms, which have exhibits on the history of the abbey as well as statues and paintings. Kitzbühel and Kitzbüheler Horn. The well-known resort town of Kitzbühel, one of the best places to ski in Austria, delights skiers with its 170 kilometers of skiable slopes and slopes lined with tiny mountain cottages. Kitzbühel has 3 skiing areas, the smallest of which, Bichlom, is exclusively for free riders, despite being the location of the yearly Hahnenkamm, the most difficult of all downhill ski events. However, Kitzbühel is not merely a ski resort. The town is as charming as Alpine villages come with its walls, frescoed homes, and snow-covered Alps as a backdrop. Medieval Berg Hochösterwitz. To the east of St. Veit, on a crag rising some 160 meters above the valley, sprawls the imposing Berg Hochösterwitz, Austria's most important medieval castle. The steep access road to the castle, the Bergweg, winds its way up through the 14 defensive gates to the beautiful arcaded courtyard where you'll find the little chapel with its wall and ceiling paintings from 1570 and the church at the southwestern end of the castle with its high altar dating from 1729. St. Stephen's Cathedral in Vienna. Within Vienna's historic city center, the magnificent Gothic St. Stephen's Cathedral, Stephansdom, is a notable structure. A late Romanesque church, of which the enormous gate and the heathen towers still exist, took the place of the earlier 12th century Romanesque church in the 13th century. Although it takes 343 steps to reach the watchroom at the top of the Steffel, the expansive Pommern Bell may be seen from a viewing platform on the north tower, which is accessible by elevator. The cathedral's treasury, which houses some of the most significant artifacts, and the catacombs from the 14th century are 2 attractions you won't want to miss. Ice Riesenwelt. The impressive world of the ice giants, the world's biggest system of ice caverns, is located on the western side of the Tenninsberg. The caves, which span an area of about 30,000 square meters, were formed by an underground river during the Tertiary era. You'll encounter the huge Heimir Hall and its amazing ice formations after circling the Great Ice Wall. The Eister, or Ice Gate, a stunning ice wall, and the enormous Ice Palace are all reached via stone steps. Expect to spend the better part of a day exploring the area, as guided tours last 2 hours and the journey to and from the caves takes some time.